Hello everyone, and welcome on back to some WSSEA Smash action here, live on the LandFest stream. I'm D-Lo, joined here by Malum in the booth, our almighty eyes in the sky, Connie on the console, as well as Taylor, aka Mo Bugman, and you watching at home. We got quite the matchup here today. Sedro-Woolley up against Lake Stevens here for week 8. Both teams 2 and 4 in terms of their records. Mal, how are we feeling?
I am feeling fantastic, D-Lo, and I found you today. Are you proud of me? I'm getting so much better at looking at you. I'm so hyped up
Keep
about
it up, man. We switch cameras every once in a
I know,
while,
and I'm still.
you're still keeping up.
My trick is I throw my hands up, and then I use that to find my direction. But you know what? I don't have to look hard to find, D-Lo. A great option for a graphics card, because we're brought to you by Zotac. So we want to give a huge shout-out to Zotac Gaming for supporting Scholastic Esports in Washington State. And you can show your appreciation for Zotac by giving them a shout-out on social media. So make sure to join their community on Discord, and don't forget, use the hashtag powered by Zotac or hashtag ZotacUSA when you post. Maybe we'll post a cute selfie later with the hashtag ZotacUSA. Surely they'll acknowledge us.
If there was a trolley with my entire family tied to one track and Zotac Gaming tied to the other, I'd be an orphan.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
We're roommating together with Zotac as our front door. Like, it's the reef hanging on our front door.
Zotac's going to have... hopefully Zotac Games got good insurance, because I'm going to need to hop on that dental plan. But beyond that, we know what I'm clicking that track. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. I love you to pieces, but it's Zotac, baby. It's Lake Stevens. It's Sedro-Woolley. Once again, two teams that bat similar records are unfortunately on the losing end of it. However, we do have some insider knowledge, especially on the part of Lake Stevens. This actually match has been rescheduled from a bit early in the season. It's between the teams that like to call themselves some Smash rivals because they've had some competitive history over the last 5 years. So, Anthony, there's some bad blood. Cue the Taylor Swift.
See, baby, now we got bad blood. Baby, now we got good stories. Those are always my favorite matchup in esports. When you've got actual lore behind who you're playing, and it's not just a... meaningless is a strong word, but it's not just a stand-in username. It's somebody that you can attribute characteristics to, feelings to, that can drive players to give so much more commitment and have so much more fun while playing. And it always translates to broadcast, and it always translates to exciting games. And with this setup, D-Lo, and the tiered structure that you always so kindly break down for us and all the families and friends watching at home, this gives a really good format to play for that revenge and for that bad blood.
Yeah, I will kindly walk through the door you just opened for me and talk about said format as well. So we have 5 1v1s that go for best of 3, folks. That means that win or lose, every single player gets a chance to play. However, these matches are not all valued equally. They are in ascendant order. We're going to start with the lowest tiered players of each team, and we ascend up that ladder up to the peak, the pinnacle. Now, the first match here is going to be worth only 2 points. The second match is also only worth 2 points. It ascends to 3, 4, and then 4. So the higher up the ladder you get, the more onus that is on your shoulders to get these Ws. But we'll see if these two players are up to the task.
Yep, and our first matchup here on Lilad is going to be for Lake Stevens Curific versus Sedro-Woolley's player, Manacled Chimp 96. Almost got me with the dyslexia, but I held it together. I want everyone at home to know that it's important you do. But our first matchup tends to be one of our most surprising ones, and the key that we've talked about now, D-Lo, week to week, is don't let yourself get SD'd.
Yeah, I mean, it also just sets the pace in terms of me understanding if this is the bottom that a team's got to offer and they're doing pretty solid, then by golly gee, that team's got to be pretty gosh darn good in the first place. So far, been very impressed by this Pythra. Has not taken nary a percent, has not even switched to the Pyro, which has way more kill power, and has no intensive stopping, just dancing on the Sephiroth.
The movement looks insane, and we talk about this a lot, but even the blocks there, like, it just looks so clean. The Sephiroth can't get anything going and feel out anything on this map. Still 0%, not a touch, not a mark, not a scathe. Finally, it's there, and it's lucky 13.
Okay, well, maybe that can start things up, get 777s, and we're in a good spot, or just get that counter and find yourself some decent damage. A nice Mega Flare as well. Somehow finds the actual stock. Sedro-Woolley pulled that one out of Sephiroth's magic hat.
Considering where we started and where we were, be shocked, but, you know, it doesn't take long before we're caught back to even Stevens. But does it really feel so even after such a strong start by Lake Stevens, just to be taken back by Sedro-Woolley and controlled so much? Maybe the Sephiroth can capture that lightning in a bottle twice.
Well, it just feels like it's an active decision on the part of Lake Stevens here. It feels like not switching to that Pyra when you reach 76% on your opponent, you really should be switching to that character who is a lot is a lot better at finding kills. The specialty of this character right here, the Mithra, she's very fast. Her attacks have good frame data. They can easily interrupt and easily combo, but she's not meant to finish off the stock. That's up to good old Pyra, but we haven't seen her make a showing just yet.
Maybe he's trying to get something going here. You can see the pace is slowed quite a bit, but every time this pace is slowed, as Devo mentioned, with the speed against Sephiroth, that's not where you want to be. You don't want to allow the Sephiroth to control it, but instead kind of has him juggled up now, and he can't find himself on the stage. Finally, the Sephiroth gets there, but is it too little too late, despite us being even in percentage?
I will say, the fact that, again, this is the bottom of the tier is pretty gosh darn impressive to me, so I'm looking forward to seeing what these teams are capable of in the future. Nonetheless, Sephiroth sent Sky high. And we'll have to see if he's able to finish off this stock quick. Sephiroth does have that natural comeback mechanic, that one wing. So once he reaches about 50%, he will get another jump as well as super armor on all of his smash attacks, which will make things a bit easier. But you're really trying to not let this Mithra stack up too much extra credit. The Octo Slash is not going to finish it just yet, but here comes the flare.
The aura of that move showed strongly, and that ties us up. One stock to go. Advantage for now, leading Lake Stevens. But so far, no SD's clean recoveries. Did I jinx it? Oh, no. I'm so sorry. I'm not one who believes in a caster's curse, but that one felt a little bit on the nose. Oh,
no. I mean, Anthony, it's not only your fault, but it's also Lilac Cruz's fault. This is why this stage is not competitively legal in most scenarios, is because it's just wonky, man. Like, sometimes you go through the stage, sometimes you grab the ledge. That's unfortunate, to say the least. Nonetheless, I do think the Mithra just had a better showing. So, I don't necessarily...
And the start showed that, too.
Exactly. I don't necessarily want to say that this was a robbery in any sense, but I do think the Sephiroth certainly showed some muster and had a chance to actually be able to bluster their way to that round 1 victory. Nonetheless, like we said, folks at home, it's a best of 3, so they still got a chance to get back in. Get in there, you manacled chimp. Rip their face off.
A best of 3 and a lot of ways to earn points. And, you know, one thing we're already seeing, the previous weeks, it feels like one school is able to get off to such a significant advantage in terms of points that by Game 3, even Game 2, at times, it almost feels like already one school is on the ropes. There's such a tall ladder to climb. But with how even this lowest tier has been so far, which again is so shocking and impressive, maybe that gives some breathing room for points. So as we get into our second game here, I think it's really important to not just look at the obvious of how those points go, but to look a little bit deeper on the other end of it. What does that mean for the games going forward? And I know you touched on this, but what does that mean for the skill going forward?
Well, talking about this breathing room, we have Town sitting here, so a bit more space. But as far as what it means is we're just going to see a lot more prediction-based gameplay, hopefully a lot more technicals. I always like to see things kind of get pushed to the closest to optimized possible, especially at the high school level. It's so interesting when these kids have such a hot hand in terms of understanding their characters very well. And so far, I think this Mithra really does understand this character well. The issue is it's Mithra and Pyra, so I'm genuinely baffled or wondering just what is the reasoning why we're only sticking to this? Is it maybe just a kind of a aura move? Or are they just trying to show off their fancy feat with this one half of this really good character?
And this is now back-to-back first games where it started off where Sephiroth cannot even get a singular hit in, which is shocking, but Sedro-Woolley, I'm sure, frustrated by it. That's a perfect one at that. Just can't get any luck going with it. How do you break out of that funk? Finally a hit.
Aerials. The Sephiroth is very much staying grounded, and they have good tools, actually. Smash attacks are, sure, they're neat, but I'm always teaching people that are learning this game that your A buttons are important, but they have to be varied. Tilts, as well as aerials, are some of the quickest moves in the game and usually the most fastest reacting. In fact, if you're clicking the B button more than your A button, in general, that is going to be something that costs you in the long run. Mega Flare comes out, does not find the mark, but you're going to notice that Sephiroth's been using that counter a lot, that Scintilla. It's a great move, but it can certainly get you punished, can certainly become predictable. Now we're juggled again.
That was a visually compelling read there from Lake Stevens on the recovery attempt, but now you've got them stuck. Is this that pressure we're always looking for and talking about? Maybe not. Maybe there's no! Does he save it? Yes, but maybe not. That got me. My heart dropped for a second for the side of Sedro-Woolley.
I will say the pressure was not there. They re-grabbed ledge, and when you do grab the ledge a second time, you lose the invincibility you get from the first time. So, in theory, that Mithra really should have stayed to the ledge a bit more and continue to pressure out, but I'm not too mad considering how well they're doing taking this one last stock. But the Scintilla. It does end up claiming one. Unfortunately, you have 141% to deal with, so Sephiroth, bye-bye.
Yeah. Was that a bug on my windshield? And why is it so handsome?
I mean, yeah, certainly don't see bugs with six-packs too often splatting against my Chevy, but, you know, maybe that can happen if you're from Washington. The bugs down there just built different.
Yeah. Somebody needs to check those protein drinks they've got in Washington. What is it creating?
Too much creatine.
Yeah,
That's
way
insane,
too
dude.
much creatine for the honeybees.
Octoslash, save the bees. This is how we do it, Anthony. We just give them a ton of protein, and instead of worrying about what the environment can do for what can we do to the environment, worry about what the environment can do to you.
Yeah, it's like the
Shadowplay is being
live-action
applied.
announcement of the Bee Movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson
Imagine if
reprising
David
the role.
David Attenborough is commentating that documentary. It's got to go absolutely insane. He's like, we're going to take a few more steps back, actually. The cameraman's a bit too close. The one instance where the cameraman might not survive. But I'm worried about the Sephiroth survival right now.
Same.
138, one stock left. A lot of Octoslash, which whenever you use any up B just about, that's going to happen to you. You die. A slash to the back, and that's curtains. Lake Stevens takes it in two.
It felt like it became a game of just survive for Sephiroth, which is, of course, the thing you simply can't allow to happen. So for Manacle Chimp, it was a good look at times, but just got a little bit too much on the defense and seemingly couldn't get back onto offense at times, where on the other side, Curific had such a terrific beginning to every single game, one of which being perfect.
Yeah, you've really got to make sure that you know how to get out of a pinch. A lot of times, that's the easiest part to forget. You know, you can teach someone as many combos as you want. They can look at all the videos, but when you're in the moment, like genuinely, there's just pressure. There's just natural pressure. The first time I had my class, like just switch from big free-for-alls to 1v1s, like they just like literally just said, I feel a bit scared right now, like mister. And I was like, I don't blame you. It's scary when you are under pressure and there's no one who can save you except for yourself. You look in the mirror, that's your hero. That's your savior. And it's not going to come from B buttons. Generally, that is one of the most easily punishable options. They're called special moves because they're for special occasions. Use those normals instead. Tilts, aerials, that's oftentimes the quickest option, and it's the best one to get you out of a bind.
One thing that is exciting, just from the start, is the character selection we've seen. I know that was something you and I talked a lot about last week, and you gave a lot of compelling points and also kind of gave some suggestions on characters to sort of start out with. So just kind of going along with the natural progression, let's talk about those next step characters as we go into our second tier. What are some starting to take your next step in Smash characters to keep an eye out for? Maybe somebody who hasn't mastered every mechanic, but they're taking their step up from they're taking off the training wheels, so to speak.
That's a fun question. Okay, so if the basics are things like Kirby, Mario, like characters that have pretty solid recoveries and easy combo trees, I'd say you could start to look towards characters that have maybe some projectile game. I think King K. Rool, honestly, you could look to maybe the heavier weights, which could be pretty fun and a bit more deep than you might imagine. King K. Rool, of course, has got big hits, but he also has got a significant projectile game you have to watch out for. Bowser can honestly be pretty interesting. Not sure what's up with that. Ness going to take a free PK Pulse punish. I mean, you kind of earned that one, Croc.
Interestingly, for the side of Lake Stevens, the player name, The Batter. So lore-accurate name to start things off here. For the other side, for Sedro-Woolley, it's going to be Jaden.
The thing is a button check, Anthony. Surely, no way we're just shield breaking for funsies. Okay, yes, and indeed it will be. King K. Rool just dazed and confused as Ness pours life after life into the abyss. It will accept its sacrifice, and I'm sure we'll be back for the rematch in just a second. Let's continue on with the question you asked.
Yes,
which
please.
is the next step of characters. It's, I'd say, low-grade combo characters, or if you want to get a bit more frisky with it, you can start to look towards the heavier weight characters, the ones who can punish harder by predicting people's moves, but also can be punished harder for becoming predictable. So King K. Rool's, Bowser's are pretty fun, and Bowser's also just a good character in general. If you want to go the projectile character route, characters that now have like items involved, though I will admit that can generally be a bit more complicated. I'd say, yeah, all right, I'll stick with what I said before. Go up with the characters that have better punish game, because the first step is always the fundamentals, learning how to just play the game, tilts, aerials, and such. The next step of Smash is learning how to read your opponent, is learning how to analyze the person who's sitting across from you and punish accordingly.
And especially in games like this where you have the best of three, and you also are aware going into it of the skill level you're going up against in your opponent. And as we saw with our first matchup, for in a lot of ways, while not every way, it was pretty evenly matched. That kind of gives you the same window, I suppose, right? Where you can play what you're anticipating, but you can play what you're comfortable against, and you can almost start to really meta a game or think more detailed about what you're selecting in reference in comparison to the other player and how it matches up that way, where you're not quite at that maximum skill level, where a lot of times those players, they have their one trick, insane character that they're going to play, and maybe the opponent has their answer, but that's almost starts to become rock, paper, scissors in a weird way, where hopefully their character doesn't hard counter mine, and you get a lot of that at that higher level.
Luckily, at high school esports, oftentimes I feel like character matchups are one of the later things that comes, though it definitely can still be an issue. It just passively is an issue, of course. Like, if you're playing a character as a brawler and you go up against a Samus, you're just not going to have a good time. Will they know particularly how to counter you? It's usually a bit more on intuition. So I do agree. You got to watch out for just the sense of having a character that's hopefully not going to be absolutely hard-walled by half the roster. And in the case of this matchup, let's talk about it. Ness versus K-Rool. These are two characters that are moderately successful at what they do. Ness has one of the best throw kills in the game, so very easy kill confirm. But that can be rough when you consider that we're at the lower end of the ladder, because I don't think we saw a single grab from that first matchup. And if that's the case here for Ness, you are losing one of your best kill options, whereas King K-Rool, he's got a bucket full.
This has been a full start of just fighting off over that center stage, that neutral zone. And it's been a strong start, but for Sedro-Woolley, a little bit worrisome as Ness already trying to put that pressure on, but doesn't quite work out as cleanly as you might want.
Ooh. Yeah, now they're off stage. Let's see what the scenario is for the edge guard. Finds the blunderbuss drop down and sends him right back off. I like these little ledge traps we have here. Unfortunately, that forward tilt was not on with the punish, though I do want to note, I saw one grab here from the Ness. I see a PK Thunder to grab that first stock. I'm thinking things are looking pretty good for Lake Stevens.
So we'll see if the batter can get batter up here, get themselves on a roll early on. Tough to get away. Is this one stuck on that ledge? Not quite. Actually able to get that recovery strong this time.
Back throw incoming. That stage pressure right back. You have that crown to clear some space, but the K-Rool really should be looking to try to close the distance. I feel like by playing the projectile game, you're kind of playing in Ness's hands. Like, yes, your projectiles are great, but PK Fire is quicker and also just more annoying to deal with. Also, Ness has a reflector, which is also annoying to deal with. But the berry up tilt combo is tried and true. 80% being built up here for the K-Rool. Not terrible, not great.
This was something I remember you saying the first week that I joined here at LANFest, but it's so exciting at these lower tiers to watch a player pick up what is fairly clearly one of their first combos, or they're really starting to master one of their first combinations. It's really exciting to see them actually make one get used.
Going for the offstage poach. These combos from the Ness have been pretty efficient, yeah. These forward air strings, it's not as great as it was in Smash 4, but it's still pretty gosh darn effective. Now they can tell they're fishing for a roll read, and they indeed find it. Batter, batter, swing, batter. Out of the park.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Sometimes you hit the home run, sometimes you hit the ground roll double, and you have to accept that one in that instance. But now the K-Roll again. I feel like this is so many times now we've seen this K-Roll have to focus on recovery, try to get off that ledge as the Ness has just been holding on to it strong. But this is one of those first chances where the K-Roll could put that pressure on D'Lo, close that gap, as you've been saying, but unable to do so at the moment is Sedro-Woolley.
I mean, they don't even seem like they want to. They're playing this like they have the advantage
of space.
Stock by exactly too much for my liking. You really want to close that distance. Goes up for the up air kill confirm, but does not find it, and now finds themselves in the offstage pressure situation. Like these side magnet stalls, but the back air just fails, and the back throw finds the mark. Ness getting a bit of a taste of their own medicine. It's 1-1.
I like when there's that pause, that sort of center stage read, almost the kind of the old Western standoff at center stage. It's becoming one of my favorite things to see at these lower tiers. But again, it goes against what you've been talking about, what could work for this K-Roll just like that.
They should have absolutely punished that. The Ness was, oh no, babe, bada swing.
Called a shot.
Line drive to center. Shortstop did not see that one coming. Sends the blunderbuss cannonball right back at him. Ness says, dude, this is T-ball, easy pickings, and sends that straight into the snout of K-Rool. You're going to think better about pitching that one so easily.
So what's the in-depth breakdown there? What's the, I've been really enjoying channeling that sort of teacher esports side of you, but what's the solution for play like that where it seems like there's a pretty kind of well-described and almost self-explanatory solution of just closing that gap as the K-Rool, putting that pressure on. But it seems like the Nest had an answer, so how do you make the adjustment while not kind of overselling?
Less projectiles, just less. Ness's reflector is not the best in the world because a lot of characters with reflectors have a dedicated move for it that is just meant to reflect. Like, usually it's like a down B, something very easy to click and very easy to time. Ness's forward smash is actually his reflector, and it's primarily used as just a smash attack to kill. But the fact that it has the reflector is an added little +1 for my Smite 2 fans. All one of you in the audience.
Hi,
it's Anthony.
it's me.
And it's Anthony. Yeah, exactly.
Unless my dad's watching, then maybe he can be included.
Hi, Mr. Malum. The point is less projectiles. You really need to close the distance. You're a brawler. You don't have business kind of trying to duke it out at 10 paces away from this nest because not only there's going to reflect, or maybe use your own reflector, I guess, but that gets dangerous, Malum. When we start to play volleyball with cannonballs, that's not what it's intended. That's not regulation, and neither is
Wow.
that. Spike, easy peasy. 7% only built up here by this nest. Lake Stevens continuing to thrive.
When I saw Lake Stevens name the batter, I expected aura behind it, especially once I saw it coincided with the character. But the play so far in this second game is so crisp, so clean, so much pressure on this K-Rool. Can't even recover with the way this nest is setting up and posturing.
104, man. I smell a back air, or back throw, rather, coming soon. Maybe that could be the solution, honestly. If you throw these projectiles in the air, never mind, you're in the air instead.
Turn out to be a meatball down the middle.
Oh, dear God, I lost my poor meatball when some psychic kid threw a giant green energy blast at it. Tell that in your funny song. Nonetheless, the point is, send your projectiles in the sky. A forward smash cannot be used unless your feet are firmly planted on the ground like that. Are we testing him? Oh, no, we were! No! And it worked! They caught the ball and they threw it at his face. That's a child!
Oh, that was brutal. That looked like my mom throwing the baseball at my eye by mistake in T-ball. I got 2 black eyes that way. How many does Ness have after that? My goodness.
Okay, he's got 2 stocks at the very least still, but nonetheless, I have a feeling his mom's going to be talking to the coach about that one. Yeah, I'm not sure I want this giant crocodile throwing 100-mile-per-hour beamers at my son's face. His head's like half his body. That cannot be safe.
The coach is like, I didn't tell him to lean into it, I swear.
Ball, can you even walk to take the first base? Oh, man. Well, you only have 1 stock to take at the very least, but
you could walk to first base, but there might be a crocodile there waiting, holding the base to smack you upside the head with it.
Oh no!
Just like
an
that.
SD this time. This is trouble. Okay, King K-Rool's got rage, but the duels have 121%. Unless K-Rool decides to also do the same exact thing, the forward air is going to find the armor. So King K-Rool does get back to stage safely, but 152, safe is in air quotes.
Setting up middle stage to try to respond to this, even that feels risky with the way this nest has been controlling space.
No, you're done. Wait, unless you save him? Okay, now
big save.
Humiliating him?
That
down. Is so messed up, dude.
Later,
come on, man. The yo-yo finishes the job. You know what? Honestly, after the abuse Ness just took, I don't blame him. He's like, yeah, I'm going to save you to bring shame to your family. Takes him out there with the yo-yo real quick.
Yeah, shout out to your pa.
2-0 there. Dude, oh my God. I just can't. We did predict it, to be fair. We talked about the fact that you could play the reflecting game, which is what happened, right? Ness reflects with a bat. King K-Rool reflects it back with the belly armor. You cannot shield that. That attack gains power every single time it gets reflected, Anthony. So the amount of pressure develops and the momentum you're creating, it's like Whitney's milk tank. Just roll out, roll out, roll out. Just gains even more pressure each time to the point where it will just insta-gimp you. So, and there's also a point, Anthony, as well, where a projectile can get so much power that it can no longer be reflected. I'm not sure what the exact number is. I doubt any esport player of this caliber is going to be aware of that number exactly just yet either. So you don't want to play with that fire. So that's why I say again, in those instances, projectile game, schmajectile game. Just stick to the hands. Fisticuffs.
I follow you. I see you up there, and I'm listening. I hear you.
Thank you.
Next up, we're going to have minion play for Lake Stevens versus True King Vegeta for Sedro-Woolley. So, a lot of aura on that one. A lot of aura names for these kids so far today. Which
minion play. Is that the most aura name we got?
Yeah, of course it is.
Dude,
Can you
that'd be some
imagine pulling up to the
despicable
Smash
plays.
competition? The guy sits down in the chair next to you and he's wearing a minion suit. I'd have to fold right there and just offer a gentleman's GG.
Do you know there's actually this is actually a true fact in the Winter Olympics? Someone dressed up as a minion and played like the minion theme.
I
That
feel
was,
like
their routine.
I
Didn't do
feel
very
like my
well.
wife told me about this.
Okay, that makes sense. She's a knower.
Yeah,
I'm a knower of Kirby.
she's a ball knower.
Kazuya and Kirby, the two Ks. One is significantly higher on the tier list than the other. It's
Yeah,
not
I was
the
gonna
tough
say, do you
ball.
want me to just like lean back and take some sips of my drink this game while you talk about Kirby for the next 15 minutes?
I'll tell you that he gets absolutely smoked in this matchup if this Kazuya knows what they're doing. However, Kirby's oftentimes, I feel like at this level, can have some significant tech themselves. Though right there, that rock drop tells me they're playing it a bit too risky, a bit too loose in the vest, and Kazuya is dressed to the nines. You got to be careful when you're landing against this absolute and literal demon.
Well, if you've ever been curious if I listened to you, D-Lo, I do remember on the first week that I joined in here for LandFest here in WSSEA, you talked a lot about Kirby's and newer Kirby's in particular, kind of abusing that downward drop and almost favoring it too much and using it as a crutch of the character when you can go way more in depth and be more successful with it.
Okay, that actually is the only application where I do find myself liking it is off stage because no one can really challenge it. And they found success there. That being said, the Kazuya teched it, which again, all knower, instantly. Demon Engine online, that ticker means that if they find a grab, instant 40%. Didn't even need to tell you guys about it. Kazuya gave me the up close and personal demonstration. Thank you.
Is Kirby just trying to find a way to get comfortable and make something happen? You can see maybe trying to slow that speed down a little bit. I know that was something you also mentioned with Kirby, is you can't get outpaced. You have to remain in control and consistent with it. But again, relying more on just slamming the brick down, and it's not quite working, and every answer is there. Finally a chance, but is it actually one? No, the recovery's there.
Hammer just a bit too audacious for my liking. Let's talk about the grander kind of stakes here in terms of the set. The rock drops off the mark, unfortunately, though the SD will come through, so hey, we're not complaining. Lake Stevens on the brink of potentially losing their first game of the series so far. Sedro-Woolley can still pull this one back. It is worth noting that in terms of like playoffs, contending, qualifying stakes, not quite as high up unless some shenanigans happen within the rest of the bracket. It is unfortunate that both these teams will likely not be able to make it to that point, but again, it's the rivalry, Anthony. It's the lore.
Yes.
It's the fact that they can say, hey, I took down Lake Stevens, or I took down Sedro-Woolley, and they're a hero amongst all the kids in their English class.
In other games you and I cast, I have the old man historian. That's my angle. That's my shtick. And for esports, as far back as esports go, it's been about bragging rights. And in this case, that's what matters. It doesn't necessarily have to be about anything deeper than that. But for Lake Stevens right now, it's kind of a matter of, okay, guys, how do I get my bragging rights? Because I'm up against a raid boss at the moment.
Dude, look at Kazuya camping underneath that platform. Kirby likes to approach from the air so often that just standing beneath that actually limits quite a few of his options.
Got him.
So does punching him in the face.
Yep,
So that
I'll do
also
it.
gets the job done. Ness and Kirby going to go to the same 24-hour clinic. Hopefully they got good insurance. Hopefully they got Zotac.
Hopefully they have Zotac, because nothing can cool off those burns from Cassia like the composite coolers built into that Zotac GPU.
Dude, hashtag Zotac. Hashtag Zotac USA, everyone.
Hashtag
Drop it down in the
Zotac
chat.
USA.
So, True King Vegeta will take that one for Sedro-Woolley, the first game they've taken. But again, it is best of 3. You're looking at Lake Stevens here. You're looking at their scoreboard. 4 points. Again, keep in mind, folks, that those first 2 matches were only worth 2. And this one starts to ramp the stakes up. It's worth 3. So Sedro-Woolley, if they take this, will nearly be caught up. Lake Stevens will have a bit of extra breathing room. So there is a lot on the line in terms of the grander implications of this series. If you are this Kirby, you need to play a bit less fast and loose with those special moves. Too many up Bs, too many down Bs. A wolf instead. All right, 1 eye versus 1 eye. I guess that works out.
Yeah, I'm kind of with that. Although if somebody turns off the lights, this whole contest is cooked. Oh, we're in space. That's going to be tough.
Well, for Wolf, well, he doesn't have a helmet, actually. I guess that's still probably pretty rough. Though Kazuya, with the power of the Demon Engine, his anger alone is going to, I guess, keep him sustaining. That being said, we also know just from that first match just how Lilat can really mess with things pretty easily. It also might be, though, what this Wolf is relying on. Kazuya has very careful combos, Anthony, that can kill you from 0 to death. So the fact that you have this stage with weird angles and kind of weird platforms that are in strange positions, maybe we're relying on that to kind of mess them up and put a speed bump in their path.
Yeah, if you're not careful, as we're seeing already, if your minion play on this wolf, You can pretty quickly not just be joining Ness, but you'll be joining Joel Embiid on the injured list, recovering from your appendectomy. Things can get out of control really quickly in this instance, but maybe you're trying to get some kind of something going. This is that spot of the map, though, that you were talking about earlier,
no.
D'Lo, where things can get uncomfortable. Oh, no, indeed.
Demon Engine finds the mark, nearly evens a percent. An amazing back throw. That's called Hell's Gate, by the way. You can see why as we get another stock taken down here. 121. I don't know, Wolf. Maybe you shouldn't have taken him to your home court. Now you're just getting embarrassed in front of your entire friends and family.
That's no fun, and that, hey, sometimes that makes a winner out of all of us, Just the right amount of embarrassment. I fell once running to a base to bring back up baseball. Didn't hit my head on the base, I hit my head on the dirt. I kept up, and I kept going, and I was out.
I do like this Wolf is certainly trying to keep going with their tenacity as well, but not trying to take that dirt nap quite just yet like you, Malum. They want to stay alive, though unfortunately I fear a caster's curse for a caster's curse, an eye for an eye. There goes the Wolf, and there goes Sedro-Woolley catching up 4-3.
Big points. This is exactly what we were talking about last week. That's the game where you want to make up some of those points because the game, it hasn't gotten out of reach. The entire set for the day has not gotten out of reach yet. So if you can get a point early on, you can kind of keep it a close contest and actually make it a game. So heading into our next matchup, it is significantly closer, which is all you really need, especially because so far, what's interesting is while those rungs up the ladder that we were talking about, while they've been pretty close so far, it does seem like each new game is bringing a new set of skills from each player, and it's been a big back and forth, which, at least when you compare to the couple of weeks I've been here, that hasn't been the case. So an exciting start to the day.
Yes. No. This is, I'd say, probably the closest we've got to see yet, and it's week 8, so that's quite the statement from us here on the casting booth. Fugo up next from Lake Stevens. Try to put a bit more fuego to keep that fire alight. Sedro-Woolley have me/Fizz. Me-Fizz?
Me-Fizz? I like Me-Fizz. Oh, Memphis. Memphis lives in me. Broadway. There's something there.
I don't know that one. Sorry, buddy. You're going to have to talk to me about that up in the green room. Nonetheless,
yes.
Musicals aside, we're going to have to be tap dancing to the rhythm of death and life as well, depending on which side you're on.
That was good.
We'll find out. I try. We'll find out which characters they're applying, because so far, like you've always talked about, the character diversity is always an interesting point.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've seen any repeats yet, which I'm always happy about. So no more Kazuya's, please. That character is so scary.
Are you saying that? Is that the Kirby main talking, or is that the commentator, esports director?
It's the latter. It's the latter. Truthfully, I know I have bias, but Kazuya is just such a demon, especially as you do ascend that ladder. One of the highest skill floors, but also one of the highest skill ceilings. That character can just be ridiculous. Does kind of, once you reach that floor, play himself in a sense. Speaking of, Bayonetta and Smash 4 was the same case. However, nowadays she finds it a bit harder to get her damage across. Let's see if she can kill some demons, that being this Samus.
I am excited for this one. Samus is one of the few characters that I can say that I've actually played a good bit. Bad news of that, I am not very good at it, but it's one of my go-tos at the parties with the friends for this game. So I get to feel comfortable, and I get to be impressed watching somebody significantly better than myself.
Well, let's talk about what the stage means. There's a lot of space here for Samus to work with, which is certainly nice. There's also high platforms, though, for Bayonetta to use her ladder combos, where she takes you up, as you might imply, from the bottom rung all the way to the top blast zone. And you can see that's why she's using those afterburner kicks. That being said, Samus just displayed her reaction. If you touch Samus' shield or she feels uncomfortable, an up B, a corkscrew attack will shortly follow. And that's why the Samus is using that shield quite a bit, playing around it, because Bayonetta's grab game, the rock, paper, scissors that can beat the shield, it's not the best, so Samus can play around it a bit more easily.
I feel like the Samus is doing a good job so far of not letting this entire game be controlled by Bayonetta and not kind of falling for the trap we saw a few games ago where, oh, their goal is speed, I'm going to panic and lose my game plan.
She's actually a really scrappy Samus. You know, she's like running at the Bayonetta.
Yeah.
That is not typical. That
is it
normally a
well,
Samus
it's kind of like what you were talking
space.
about earlier, right? How you want, if you're a ranged character, you want to have that space to be able to do your thing.
No, she says I don't want space at all. I want to get up in your face instead and just kind of like mash it with my metal gauntleted fist. They're using charge shots, but now is about the time where you can start to charge them up to those bigger numbers and maybe try to look for the kill. 121 though. Danger here for the Samus. Does land, but it's knocked back off, and bullets going to be able to do enough to at least dent that metal, but the big bad back air is what ends up getting the first stock off. 143 here for Samus, and she's gone too.
And we're back, 0-0, fighting over neutral just like that. But instead, screw that. Let's go to the edge and go crazy with it already.
No.
What a combination from the Bayonetta there onto the Samus.
That's what she's capable of. Could not finish the ladder, unfortunately, since she just kind of started a bit too low. But bread and butter combo right there. Down throw, forward air, easy peasy. I'm liking the fact that they're going off stage with these bomb setups as well. Both these characters, or both these players rather, Miphiz and Fugo going really aggressive. Here's the ladder combo. Can't finish it. Again, just a taste of what Bayonetta can do.
I keep wanting to see the full arc of it get finished off, but the Samus doing a good job of fighting it through and actually almost was able to evade and kind of force a mistake there for the Bayonetta, which is an angle we can't forget about.
This Bayonetta's trying to make roll reads. Really wants to use this smash attacks. Those giant fists you see from the demon Madame Butterfly, for a little lore fact. Oh, screw attack does not finish it, but nonetheless, you can see that she wants to finish it with smash attacks, whereas Samus doesn't really mind how she gets it done. A forward air this time around, but let's see what Bayonetta's option is off this ledge. Catches him with a jab. Maybe knock him back off. That jab is a kill move at high percents, and that's why, again, 0-0, last stock.
Last stock, but remember, so far Samus has done a really good job of, as soon as we get to that scary zone, being the one to have the quicker trigger finger. True. And you got to keep it up this time, even against the one with double guns and the scary high heels. And Samus doing just that early on.
I'm not sure how much I want them to go off stage with these bomb setups. I feel like they're taking more damage than they're giving out.
And it leads usually into the setup and the combo from Bayonetta.
Yeah, exactly. Bayonetta gets to stage first, and then all of a sudden now they have the pressure instead. Just kind of retain that edge instead. The Witch Time actually does find the mark and forces one last F smash. Though again, we're ceding stage control from both players. I feel like we're getting a bit too overzealous around this ledge. Let's see what the setup is this time. It's unsuccessful.
Samus almost selling out, now caught, trying to get an adjustment and get something going for what could be. This is that danger territory we've been getting to so far, D'Lo.
Finds the Witch Twist off the ledge. Spends all those resources, but does find the last hit. Going low, but actually saved the Samus there with that last move and killed herself instead. That is tragic. Lake Stevens had the Holy Grail, but instead take a dive into the deep end of the blast zone. That's going to cost them the game.
They went low. The apple bottom jeans didn't fit. Now we're all going back to the store with grandma's money, disappointed, looking for receipts.
Oh, man. That's just ludicrous. That's Florada. Oh man, that's embarrassing. That is really embarrassing. Can we move on, please? Luda, that is genuinely not okay. I'm
Fast and the Furious.
I'm all about family here on the cast here, folks. Samus and Bayonetta. Oof, that is rough. Samus is not about family. Ridley having famously eaten her parents in front of her. Another little lore fact. He's in this. He's in the game too. That's a Nintendo character.
It's a lore cast tonight. Yeah.
I'm telling you guys all the information in game, out of game. You're gonna learn a lot of stuff. Florada sung low. Did you know?
I did know. I know about Florida. I know about Zotac. I know about Samus lore. That's my night so far.
that's the dream dinner table right there. Florada's the
hashtag Zotac USA.
Ooh, oh boy. Right now, Samus not feeling too patriotic. Instead, they're being sent up all the way to the top, but cannot finish the combo. Samus is rather heavy after all. That screw attack, though, is rather risky. You want to make sure you're just grabbing ledge. Gave up ledge invincibility. Anthony, that fun fact we talked about earlier. You re-grab the ledge, you lose that invincibility, and instead you lose a stock.
And went right back to the bombs you were talking about. The exact thing you were hoping the Samus would avoid. Went back, got stuck, looking for bombs, and kind of just got caught looking into the sunset, and all of a sudden, you're sleeping with the fishes.
You gotta adjust. That's half of it, right? If the fundamentals, which the Samus clearly does have, but then it's also adjusting to not even just what your opponent's doing, but also what you're doing working, then if not, change it, you know? So far, these get-up options have been really costing. I feel like a lot of the percent that Samus takes is from off-stage interactions that they don't even need to take. They're optional. But instead, they get the better hand of this one. Nice little forwarder. But they just went down without a jump. That's tragic. An unfortunate SD cost Sedro-Woolley big.
It seems like the thing that was working for Samus was being able to sort of dance around and become shockingly mobile when compared to the Bayonetta. That was what you pointed out, but as we've gotten deeper and deeper into this matchup, it seems like that's fallen to the wayside, and Samus has become very lead-footed in comparison to the Bayonetta, not just referring to the actual weight of the suits they're wearing, but the Samus can't get anything to happen because the Bayonetta gets to just watch you die and fall off the ledge yourself. A completely different version of the Samus equals the same kind of win for Bayonetta.
Yeah, another SD. Just, you can't have that. You simply put, cannot have 2 SDs in one game. That is 2/3 of your stocks going down to situations that were unnecessary that you kind of put yourself into. I respect the moxie, for sure. I always love someone who's willing to go off stage because, you know, a lot of students at this level are a bit afraid of that ledge. It's scary. I want the ground beneath my feet. You know, I want to touch grass. Understandable. Very not gamer review, but understandable. Nonetheless, you gotta recognize if it's not working out for me, if like this pattern is resulting in frequent interaction losses or stock losses, something's got to give. Sometimes persistence is not the way. Sometimes you can't just force it because you want it that bad.
Begs, here's my biggest question that I'm looking for. We saw a refusal is a strong word, but we saw a reluctance to change up the game plan from the Samus, from the side of me, Fizz, D'Lo. So what is going into this one? What is your idea? How do you get around? How do you fight back against Fugo?
This.
What's the adjustment that needs to be made? Maybe this exactly. Yeah, strong start.
Just let them touch your shield and screw attack. Like, play to the character's strengths. And off stage is not it. Like, just stay on stage, please. Just hold shield and wait. I like that we're using the screw attack more. Again, out of shield options are pretty rare. And right there, that's great. Wait, bait, punish. That's all I want to see. But hold that shield a bit more, you know? It's your friend. It's meant there to protect you. And a lot of Bayonetta's options when recovering back to stage will poke beneath the stage as well. So whenever you're standing at ledge,
if you can take that away.
That. Hold that bubble. Hold that bubble and just make sure you're not getting poked with unnecessary damage. You just lost visibility.
Trying to take away the options there, but this time it has a recovery from it, D'Lo. Samus is cleaning up some mistakes, but another attempt at a combo doesn't go all the way.
Okay, rising neutral. That's also a good move that we should see a bit more. Neutraler from Samus is pretty gosh darn solid. Can kill as well. I'm not complaining. Goes in with the grab. Doesn't find the mark this time around, though. The afterburner kick provides the perfect opportunity. Good shield. But what do we do after that? A down tilt. I like the idea. It's off the mark.
But off the ledge, Samus trying to keep it clean. The time, the switch up. Where are we going to?
Guns ablazing. Answers from both sides. Look at that. Bayonetta's got hers as well. Shooters on deck. The Zaire actually does find the mark and forces Bayonetta back off. 132. A light breeze will certainly take her out. Off stage, same story for Samus, but a neutraler is the only thing that finds the mark. But now both safe, back in neutral, and Samus back off stage. The guns finish the job.
If we go back to the very first game of this particular series, if it goes the same, Samus should come out swinging, get that pretty quick fight back, stock back, but not the case here. Bayonetta actually not falling for what happened earlier on in the same one. No! Right as I say it, there it is. This is a repeat of that first matchup we saw.
Up throw is a good kill option in a pinch. I just think the Samus needs to be a bit less overzealous. Trying to get back to stage 2 easily, trying to find shortcuts that are actually long cuts in reality. It's great damage, great gimp with the nair, but high up enough that the Samus will be able to recover, just not without taking a lot of damage.
But now again, Samus finds himself stuck in that same problematic spot, giving the space for Bayonetta to work it all together. Is this going to be the end of it this time, this quickly? I mean, this is the thing you've been talking about, D'Lo, nonstop, is if you concede this space, if you let the Bayonetta put you right where she wants you, then you're going to infinitely fall for that same exact combination.
Oh no, again, just lost stage pressure. I think you're dead. You're dead. Because you decided to try to contest a Bayonetta. The air is her domain. You're a foot soldier. Keep those boots on the ground.
I feel like a lot of times you can almost simplify it down to playing to what your character feels like.
You are absolutely correct. If Samus is meant to be a ground projectile spammer, by all golly means, just do that. Bayonetta is meant to kind of be a Devil May Cry, Dante's Inferno, just like Kratos combo character.
Right.
Like, yes, like the Madame Butterfly she is. Dash attack finishes the job. Samus doesn't have too much percent stacked up, but still needs to make adjustments to find that victory.
Right back to the ledge, though, where it's gotten scary, and you see the same thing. History repeats itself once again, and it's a deja vu all over again. But can the Bayonetta continue it through and look for the cleanup and the end this time?
Deja vu. Another song by Flo Rida. Down air comes out from the Bayonetta. Fair. Up air pokes through the platform, but doesn't find too much. Maybe the Samus does need to change in terms of the aggression. I think that's the overall theme. I really respected it at the beginning. I still do. But it's not netting results.
There you go.
Up throw, what's the follow-up?
Oh, good on it. But that was exactly what you talked about, setting up at that middle stage. But now you're in the danger zone. Uh-oh territory. Different game for us. Same rule of application here.
Back throw. Now again, ledge setup. Okay, just stay there with shield, please. Don't back off, but definitely do something. Not that, unfortunately. The roll in puts you in the corner yourself. And you know what happens when baby's in a corner. They get a baseball thrown at their head. In this case, it comes in a multi-fist of flying jab combo from Bayonetta. That's going to seal it away. Solid job there.
D'Lo played T-ball in Guantanamo Bay, if you couldn't tell.
It was scary. You don't want to know what happened in my
I've seen some things.
It's true. Lake Stevens ended up taking that one pretty handily. Overall, really well done on their part. That was a pretty tough match. This certainly was played hard and fast and loose. That being said, we still got one more, the top, the peak, the pinnacle. Though with Lake Stevens taking that one, I'm not sure if Sedro-Woolley have the ability to get back into the runnings of things. At the very least, you can get the bragging rights.
That's true, and that is the main topic of the night. That's what we've been touching on so far as being the true key. And we're going to be starting off with Small Battlefield. It's player for Lake Stevens, okay. That's it. And for Sedro-Woolley, it's going to be Cage. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Jinx. But you know what? I'll get you the soda this time because I'm nice. Maybe it'll bring you out of the blur zone. Where'd he go?
I can't talk. Well, in theory, right? That jinxing for a caster is, man, what a career ender that could be, huh?
Oh, true.
What do I do? I've been cursed eternally. I'm curious to see what OK and Cage bring to the table here. Hey, we're talking about middle of the ground characters that can kind of show a bit more when you want to get a bit more advanced, a bit more big for your britches. Bowser's one of them we've talked about. Now we get to see him. The King of Darkness and Turtles versus a Disney character. Nice.
I'm excited for this because this is now back-to-back weeks where I've asked you to go up that ladder of player progression, skill progression, and character selection. And again, we get to see a character you've touched on and talked about. And my goodness, you can already see the little things. I'm sure as a teacher who's somebody who helps players get better at this game and works with scholastic esports players of your own, when seeing those little things, those little mechanics has to get you excited.
The big thing for Bowser, or the big little thing is, again, similar to Samus, if you touch my shield, I'm clicking up B, but it's way better for Bowser. Holy. Whirling Fortress, you're going to see that so many times. We're also going to see a lot of spells being tossed out here by the Sora. Get up attack, gets him backed up the stage safely. The Nair tries to find the bear follow-up, though Sora is rather light. That right there, Anthony, Whirling Fortress. Clock it.
How do you... this is the biggest thing. Okay. I'm stepping back from caster. I'm talking as a player. This is the zone I panic. Right there. You see the 143. You have to make a play happen of some kind of, in some way to get yourself back in. That's where I panic when I play. What do you do, especially against the Bowser, who seems to have so much aggression and so many ways to kill you once you get to that high of a percentage?
Keep a cool head. That's just the idea. You just got to act like it's practice. It's just training, you know? It's repetition,
okay.
repetition. If you have your habits that form under panic and that's what shines through, then you are going to get cooked because there are just known habits that a player of high skill caliber can easily capitalize on. Again, such as jumping, because we know that you want to get back to stage as soon as possible, as safely as possible. So you're going to jump because that's how you get back to stage quickly. But in reality, you're putting yourself close to your opponent, and you're also robbing yourself of resources. You just robbed yourself of your own life there, Bowser. That was a bit of a scary down air.
A little bit. That's a surprising one. I feel like that's one thing that we haven't seen a lot in these highest tiered matchups is people getting kind of caught lurking or looking in those situations. But an instant respawn back, and now down to one stock is the side of Lake Stevens. Bowser
is just such a massive threat. A combo character with, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the heaviest weight in the game, can live well over 150% without dying. That is a common occurrence here in the House of Bowser. Whereas Sora, one of the lightest characters in the game. This guy is a featherweight. Bowser will sneeze and Sora will be sent to the stratosphere. makes it a lot more difficult, especially when this Bowser is privy to the fact that this Sora is scared, playing a bit afraid. These Bowser bombs, though, will get you punished. Unfortunately, is not heavily enough. Up smash evens the odds. 40% of extra credit, not shabby.
This is a doable point, especially compared to some other sides we've seen so far tonight. And it looks like the Sora's cleaning it up, getting a little bit confident. Maybe they're starting to believe, D-Lo, to get that response, get that comeback for Lake Stevens. But Sedro-Woolley begins to bring it right back to OK, the player, but that turtle shell has bounced off the wall.
You really got to be careful about these stall and fall options, the Bowser Bomb or the down air. In fact, you got to be careful about the SD as well. Gets stalled out by the Fire Aga and just kind of sinks down to their demise. Okay.
Okay. That was really clean from OK. I feel like, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I was writing that one off a little bit in favor of the Bowser, but OK puts me in my place, and I say, hey, you're OK.
You are OK. Sedro-Woolley on the back end of that exchange. Lake Stevens just trying to put the final nail in the coffin here. They already have won the series, despite Sedro-Woolley having a chance at this particular set. Even if they win it, it will only be 7-8, so you can try to close the gap. But if you're this Bowser, you're trying to close the gap between you and this Sora, exactly, then your goal is going to be to just kind of take it a bit more easy. I feel like we are using a lot of these panic options, which are, again, stall and fall. Similar to the Kirby Rock Drop, you have the Bowser Bomb, which you're going to see, I'm sure, another time, or a stall and fall down air, which is when he retreats into his shell and slams down on the ground. Both of those are options that are very punishable, very obvious to a well-experienced player, but sometimes they result in this. A shield break, you're dead.
I was just about to give some credit and kind of reference it felt like a Dark Souls boss. Keep yourself close to the Bowser, close that distance as Sora, keep the pressure on, and then right as I was going to bring it up, away they go, and OK gets sent off the map. But otherwise, this seems a little bit cleaner than what we saw at the start of the previous game.
I'm not going to lie, just you can't stand beneath a Bowser or a Kirby, but the rules are the same. Great hero spin to actually catch back up without taking a nary a scratch. That feels really good. Now they think they have the momentum, which is definitely necessary after that unfortunate shield break. You just can't stand beneath a Bowser. You know they're going to potentially do that, so you always approach a bit more laterally. Solid counter gets them back in the game.
This seems like a map that works well for Bowser. You can kind of play around where the actual platform is versus the previous map where it seemed like Bowser got caught a couple of times with nowhere to actually use that advantage you were talking about.
Yeah, in this instance, Bowser's been having a bit of a hard time because of the stage a little bit. This platform does provide that instance where you can seismic slam on top of
Right, I guess that's what I saw before.
Yeah, and that's been something we actually haven't seen too much from the Bowser. This side B. Up B, though, we're going to keep seeing that. What's that called again, Anthony? Whirling Fortress.
It's important for a reason. Repetition equals memory, but Sora remembers being in this spot in the previous game, doesn't want to get sent to round, and there is a bit of a memory for it, but not a distant memory quite yet, trying to make their way back to the stage.
If they land on the platform, that would have been death, unfortunately. The enemy that's being grabbed does have some control over it. I think it depends on who's at the higher percent. We've seen this before.
There it is.
Down smash, spot dodge into F-tilt. That move is actually surprisingly quick from Bowser, and also surprisingly powerful despite only being a tilt. 138 for Bowser with no... Come on, man. Come on, dude.
The comedic timing of that was immaculate, if nothing else.
Just stop. The Bowser bombs are like... You're blowing up your own home, buddy. Like, you gotta be careful. You're throwing stones in a glass house. You're throwing Bowser
that felt
bombs.
like the game... Yeah, that was the game version of when that last pen drops off your desk at work, you know, and you're done.
And you're seeing this. Sora's done with it, too. They parried the last Bowser bomb, responded with an instant up smash. Don't do it again, Bowser. Please, dear God, don't do it again. Can they recover?
Maybe so. Sora looking to really clean this one up and profit off the big-time mistake from the Bowser. But is that so? Now stuck. Sora looking confident. You can kind of feel the momentum out from the player, but here's that same thing we've seen work so many times to find game.
Whirling Fortress, baby. Whirling Fortress. I'm telling you. It's a good move.
Whirling Fortress.
Really good move. Can make up for those Bowser bombs you flubbed a little bit earlier. So... okay. Not feeling quite as okay as last go-around. That's okay. Cage gonna bring that one home for Sedro-Woolley. And now, all comes down to this. Last game goes all the way to 3. Can't really ask for more as a competitive esports enjoyer.
Exactly. Okay, D'Lo, going into this one, it seems like we can expect the same picks because once you get to those higher tier levels, the players don't seem to usually swap off picks as much. But what are you're the parent at home just getting used to watching your kid play this game. What are the most simple things to look for? What do you expect to be the adjustment from either side?
Okay. No, all right, that was not intentional.
Okay.
Platforms. Dude, just look at the map. I see platforms. That makes it harder for Bowser to use those Stalin Falls. Now, clearly the Sora wants to respond to that. Even though, honestly, I think they're doing a good job taking advantage of it, you just don't kind of want to worry about it. Those shield breaks really stick out in your mind, right? It's like a train crash. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's horrifying. But you can't look away. And that's why you're just going to see these platforms that will instantly stop Bowser from responding with those. But they have that F tilt still, and that still kills pretty efficiently. Only 18% on this Bowser.
I feel like the tough thing that we're seeing is it seems like Sora has to do so much to this Bowser to equal the same thing
Correct.
that Bowser can do with a significant amount less of effort.
Yes, you have to win less interactions to get more from Bowser. And that's why super heavyweights in general just feel good. Win less interactions and you still get the same results. You also can make more mistakes and be punished less. But that right there is why the platforms come in handy.
Yeah.
Bowser bombed that big bad bottom right on top of that top platform.
You can hear Goofy yelling off stage, "Take cover!"
Gosh, Sora. Maybe try to be his friend. I don't think that's going to work. Maybe slash him across the face with your Keyblade. That gets the job done just a bit better. 35% built up here by the Sora. Not too shabby.
Yeah, if Sora keeps going the same way, though, unfortunately Goofy will be singing Evanescence before we know it. So Bowser's trying to keep that pressure on, really make the emo music come back. I'm guessing the high schoolers don't even know about that, but that's okay. I can feel old for a minute. Mid-stage, though, D'Lo, Sora not giving up. One thing I like about the Sora player that we've seen, looking at that base level, seems to be the persistence to still stand and throw hands with the Bowser despite being at a disadvantage at times. Stuck.
SD once again here for my friend. I'm going to stop doing that, Cage. Just a polite request. I want you to stay alive, pal. Get them to this last stock. Let's see it go down to epic photo finish. Nice little parry. Nair
Let
the
him
back
have
air.
it, Sora.
That was pretty solid. But now Sora could be in trouble. Calling a friend for help. Donald, not there to back you up. The side B, though, gets him off stage. And the Bowser bomb. Evaded, just barely.
And the yeet, is that going to be enough, though? Certainly not, at least at this point. The Sora able to get comfortable and readjust to a new spot. Bowser on the chase.
An epic duel of fates. Jab, jab, into jab, jab, into jab. And they all clash.
That was cool.
I mean, yeah, sure. They have
Top
the
10 anime battles.
Same frame data. Now they're frozen in place. Can't find the up smash follow-up. Seismic slam top platform. That's also a benefit for Bowser, though, must be noted. That side B, instantly way more powerful off the top.
Don't ever give up, Sora. We believe in you.
Goofy. Rings true in Sora's ears, but then all of a sudden it's being drowned out by his screams. He's gored on the back of this giant turtle shell. Side on the edge finds the dash attack. Can they finish him off with Thundaga? Lightning strikes twice. It strikes 3 times, in fact. And that's going to be Lake Stevens taking the match. They'll take the series, too.
I knew you could do it, Sora.
Gorsh.
Goofy exclaims with excitement, "We're gorshing at the bar later." Well, not at the bar. I guess at the TGI Fridays.
At the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, perchance.
Yes, the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Get your Mouse-Catools out here, folks. It's going to be Thundaga. That's the one that you needed. The mystery Mouse-Catool at the end of the day was magic. It was inside of you all along. Lake Stevens, man, did that pretty gosh darn efficiently across the series.
That Sora came back from a lot.
Yes. Like you said, you have to win a lot of interactions. But the fact of the matter is they were able to read the Bowser. The Bowser wasn't making adjustments to the Sora, whereas I think the Sora actively was trying to evade the Bowser's preferred crutches. That Bowser bomb and that down air. Those are things that, again, will get you punished. As a super heavyweight, you, yes, can make more mistakes. Doesn't mean you can kind of just do whatever you want. You're still punishable. You're still going to be in trouble. And that's why we see Lake Stevens taking it.
I see a Baby Yoda doll. That's what I'm looking at right now.
You're talking about
but I'm
me.
imagining
That's a very
you.
Nice compliment.
Oh, yeah, you're as cute as Grogu. But you know what else is cute, D'Lo? Why don't you tell me more about LANFest?
I can tell you all about LANFest, guys. This broadcast, in fact, is part of LANFest Scholastic Esports program, a program that supports this league and many others. Since launching, LANFest has delivered over 300, that's a lot, broadcasts to Scholastic leagues in Washington and Indiana. We provide these broadcasts free of charge to the leagues, schools, and teams we cover. Your generous donations, though, are what make that possible. Every $200 raised covers the operating costs for one regular season broadcast. If you appreciate our work, scan that QR code on the screen and donate today. Open your hearts, and maybe, just maybe, open your pocketbooks too.
Remember, press your camera button, then go to the QR code. That's the key. That's the secret technology to do it. But no, this was a fun one. I think this might be, not to sound too biased, this has been my favorite week so far. It was just a pretty good game, Stilo, to say the least. And I feel like we got to end on a pretty high note. And we talked about revenge. We talked about bragging rights. Both teams get to walk away with plenty of it.
For creatine, cockroaches, Bowser,
Goofy.
baseball-related brain trauma from Ness. Like,
of course, it's a grand slam.
This series had everything.
I'm all jacked up on creatine.
Goofy's frame, like when he's like not like beanpole thin, he's like yoked out, terrifying. Let's get the heck out of here before we scare everyone at home a bit too much more.
Yes.
I've been D'Lo,
we like our jobs.
Joined here by Malum in the booth. We've got our almighty eyes in the sky, Connie Console, and Taylor, aka Mo Bugman. Please thank our production for all they do. We could not yell games without them. And last, but certainly not least, thank you, loyal, obedient viewer, for your time. We hope you've enjoyed this series just as much as we have. Keep it out of the sky for more WSSEA action coming at you in the future. Until then, good games and good night.